Okay, ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jay. We got a lot of stuff to go over because we've done a lot of stuff inside the kitchen, as you guys can see behind me. We've also done a lot of updates with paints. We've done some prep work on the floors. We've got all of our tile work finished in the bathroom and in our laundry. We're gonna go over all that right now. Let's get to it, let's go. Okay, we're starting off in the kitchen right away. Low cost solution, butcher block countertops. What I love about them, they're such a phenomenal way to cut down on the cost of your kitchen because you know it can go crazy. You can spend 10 grand in this kitchen without even blinking your eyes. But I actually only spent $1,000, believe it or not. And here's how I spent that $1,000. Got these butcher block counters in. This is an 8-foot board. Got this 8-foot board cut down. Once I had it cut down, all I had to do was just sand it down really slightly, but I still need to finish it. Now you can go with a polyurethane. You can go with something that's really thick so that in case you have any spills, nothing seeps through and gets absorbed into the wood. Another option, which is great, and I would only recommend this truly if it's for your own house, not really for a renter, is after you finish sanding it, getting it cleaned really nicely, maybe use some mineral spirits to really wipe it down, and then just use a food grade material finish over the top of it. That way, if you guys want to, you can cook on it, you can cut on it, it's great for all that. But again, I'm only saying to do that, at least for me, I would only recommend that if you're gonna be using it in your own house. Otherwise, when it comes to rentals, put a nice little finish over top of it, nice and good. Next thing we have the sink. Now, this is a 33-inch wide sink. I've been using this sink a lot lately. It's great because it comes with all kinds of attachments and parts that you can put on top of it. You're actually just seeing the raw sink itself, but it's so much better. Now, in the previous couple episodes, you actually saw it had a double sink. I find them to be incredibly inefficient. What's nice about this, you have plenty of space. You can put all your stuff inside of it. Comes with a spot that's already cut out for your faucet. Also comes out with some that's cut out for your garbage disposal button. If you don't have that garbage disposal button that's needed because you have a switch like we do here, put a soap dispenser, call it a day. Last thing, cabinet colors. Now, these cabinets were the original cabinets inside the kitchen. All we did, got some spray paint, sprayed them this really nice olive light green. And I know some people are gonna be like, why would you spray that? Oh, it's gonna look terrible. This is a rental. We're trying to cut down on our costs. We're trying to save some money. Great savings right here. In total, we spent $20 to refinish what was already in here. Look at this kitchen. This kitchen already looks dramatically different than it did when we first started. So last thing we're gonna do, we're gonna put in some handles right here. We're also gonna get a cabinet above where our microwave is gonna go. And this kitchen is a wrap. All in all, again, $1,000 versus $10,000. Now that's how you make a return on your money. Okay, something I want to mention because I think it's really important. So this is our air filter. Now this filter was just put in, I think like 3 days ago. Because we have a lot of construction going on, you always gotta make sure you change these out. And I wanted to bring this up in the video because this is something that was just happening right now. I noticed how much condensation there was up on one of our AC vents. So I went over to the system to take a look at it because I knew that we're having a lot of dust in the air. So you always gotta make sure you keep your system clean. So when you have a system that's this dirty, you know, you're really gonna have to work hard, or at least the system is gonna work really hard to try to push that air through. So you're gonna hear a lot of like whistling and wheezing. It's because there really isn't enough air movement. Now that we swapped it out, you can actually see this is what a brand new one looks like. It's so much cleaner, it's so much clearer. But I do think when you are doing a lot of construction, you gotta make sure you really pay attention to this kind of thing because this is the stuff that'll really kill your system. When you have a lot of dust and debris that goes up into and it gets caught up in your coils, now you're gonna have a much bigger bill. You might have to swap your coils out or have them cleaned. It's gonna be costly regardless because they're gonna need removing. So if you're doing construction, you've got your AC system running, always make sure you keep your system nice and clean so you don't have to run into a big bill later on. So something that I've been trying to figure out is the layout of how I'm gonna rearrange furniture. So I went back and forth a number of times inside this space because I just didn't really have a good idea what I was gonna do. So I'm gonna give you an idea as to what I was thinking and then what I ultimately decided because maybe this will make a decision between how you do your spaces in the future. So when it comes to the living room, inside here, this is where people would be sitting, ideally, right? So one thought was that you're gonna have the sofa here, maybe like a club chair or two in this area. And on this back wall, this is where your TV is likely gonna go. At least that's what I initially thought, because the space is not very conducive to being able to watch TV. And I'll show you why. If we swing around here, if you guys look, we don't really have anything over here. The fireplace is here, so you can't put the TV there. And then over here, you've got a bunch of doors and openings, so you can't put the TV there. And then we swing around even further, you're gonna have a giant opening over here, and then some openings on the wall, so you can't put them there either. So the whole time I'm just thinking, well, there's gonna have to put a TV over here. It just really minimizes the amount of space that you have for your layout. Now, something that I decided to do instead, because I realized how wide the room is, it'd be much nicer to have a sofa here, to have some chairs on the end, and then if we swing around now, actually have the TV up on this wall. So what I did was I installed an outlet to go up here, and what that's gonna do now, above the fireplace, you're gonna have your TV that's gonna go in place right there, and now you're gonna be watching TV across the space, which is, again, it's gonna be a much nicer use of the space because the space is really long. And when you have a long space versus how wide it is, you're just gonna turn it into a space that's more usable as a whole, as opposed to a really cramped corner to watch TV. In addition to that, we're gonna lay out our dining table right here because we've already got our wire that's running to it. So we're gonna have our dining table, nice light coming down, our fireplace with the TV on the wall, and then over on the opposite end, sofa with the chairs framing it. And then that also alleviates the space in the middle, so you still have your circulation and your egress for people going in and out. So when it comes to designing your spaces, what's just as important as picking the paint and the floors is figuring out how you're gonna lay out your furniture, because it's all about how people are gonna be using the space, not just the way it looks. Something I wanna make sure I cover is the way the casing and the baseboard finished, considering how it looked when we first started. Now, when we brought up the casing and the baseboard before, if you guys remember, I said this was once the original front door of the house, and this was just an enclosed patio at some point, right? But it was just like an open patio, and then they enclosed it. So what they decided to do, we came back, all these were where like the hinges were located. So we finished it off with some mud, sanded it down really smooth. And the reason why we did that is because the cost of ripping out all this casing, putting in brand new casing, especially this one, this is a nice wide, like 6-inch piece of casing, it would just be way too expensive. So when it comes to rentals, always trying to not cut corners, but you're trying to cut your dollar down. You're trying to get, or I should say, you're trying to stretch your dollar more than cut it, you're trying to stretch it. And the way that you stretch is you try to refinish the things that are already existing, so that when it comes to actually buying brand new, you don't need to, because you've made the stuff that's there look good just by the way it is. Now, something else that we did, we went back in, we put a high gloss finish on it, something that I say to do for all my baseboard, all my trim. I put a high gloss finish. It's great because if it ever gets dirty, you can literally just wipe it off, good to go. Now, something you'll also want to consider too, if you ever have really big holes, really big dents in it, make sure not only do you fill it, but you have to sand it down first. Sometimes people just think, oh, I just gotta fill the hole and then I'll paint it. No, no, no. You gotta fill it, and when you're done filling it, you come back and you sand it all really smooth. This has a nice smooth finish on it, so that when it's painted, it actually looks really finished. Now, if it came down to selling it and you're doing a brand new property and people wanna spend top dollar, I probably would rip it out and put it in brand new, but because it's a rental specifically, we're just trying to make it look good and habitable, because nobody will ever notice something like this anyway. So do yourself a favor, keep that line item off of the list and put that money back in your pocket. We are inside the main bedroom of the house, and what we've done inside here, because I want to make sure I bring it up because it's also throughout the house, is we've covered our floors with this paper. Now, if you guys are working on your construction projects, I always recommend, always put the paper down, because you want to protect your investment. You spent all this money, you did all new floors, or you have existing hardwood floors like we have in this house, and then to get a bunch of painters in and out, getting paint on it, dust and debris from all the construction going on, like you don't want to ruin what you've spent so much money either preserving or paying for. So what you do instead, you go pick up these rolls of paper, you can get them at any big box store, put them down over everything, make sure you get a lot of extra tape off all of your edges. What that's gonna do, now you can have people go in and out, they can trample, you don't have to worry about what's existing or the thing that you put down get messed up. Always make sure you protect your investment, and the floors are the big one. Something I wanna make sure I bring up is what to do with these old windows. Now, I know I need to change them. I do. But again, we're trying to do things cost efficient here, and I also don't have the money to put into making all new windows right now. But I do know that once I have the house refinanced, I'll get a nice big chunk of money because I'll have all that cash that I'm getting from the equity. I'm gonna put it into getting a new roof. I'm gonna put it into getting a new windows. Let me show you why I'm putting it into the new windows. Take a look right here. Look what's happening to the window. The window is completely falling apart, where you can literally, the outside world, the outside world is right here, according to my cameraman. So something we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to find out a way to patch them up, get them nice and closed, because this is just, it's unacceptable. You know, we can't have people staying inside the house when you have windows that are deteriorating and they're falling apart. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna have one window that's being used for egress, which is most likely gonna be this window here because it's in the best shape. I know I can get this to open and close, which is wonderful. All the other ones, we're just gonna have to seal them shut for now. And then again, in the future, because we're definitely not gonna leave it this way, that'd be wrong. But when the time comes and when the money's in, we're gonna make sure that we spend the money to put in brand new windows so that not only the space nice and quiet, it's energy efficient, that we're gonna have better air quality, everything's gonna go up. So until then, patch, fix as best as we can, keep one that's operable, and then call it a day. We're now inside the only bathroom of this house because this is a little baby house. So something that we did over the last week, we actually finished all the tile. You guys can actually see it. I don't know if we can get enough exposure on there, but you can actually see the difference in the tile colors. So the reason why we had to do that is we had to rip it out because before there was a towel rod, so strange, inside the shower, weird. Anyway, but once we ripped it out, basically you had all the holes where all the screws used to hold the rod to the wall. So once we took them out, now you have a big pinhole inside of your shower. I just hate the look of it. So I went ahead and had all those replaced. Once all of them were replaced, we went ahead and we grouted it so that now when the tile finisher comes in, he's gonna come into the bathroom, he's gonna seal off everything and spray it all nice, bright white. It's gonna look brand new, love it. So something else we did, if you look right here, we had some old tile that was facing upward, very much like this tile, but it just looks bad. It was hideous. So once I ripped it out, I went ahead and I got a really large tile, and that one large tile fit a nice flat surface all the way across. And then I also set it so that it was level with the tub and where the tub was before, because on the previous renovation, whoever did it, they actually set it a little bit higher. Is that a problem? It's not, but I really hate things that aren't level. It just drives me crazy. So I had my guys come in after they finished ripping it out, and I made sure they got a nice level finish so that we had a nice flat surface to the tub itself. Something else I want to bring up, you might see like I have a black edge detail here. I also have another black edge detail right here on the wall. Now, I was originally gonna do like a nice black trim, something I do in a lot of my bathrooms, but because of how little is gonna go on in the rest of it, I'm actually gonna have that guy come back and spray it all white so that you'll never even know it even existed. Now, that's just a matter of preference when it comes to what you like, what's your aesthetic. Me personally, I do love the black trim, but because of what I'm doing with this bathroom, I'm just gonna go ahead and paint it white and just call it a day. So once all this has been refinished, we're gonna flip over to the other side. You actually can see here, we still have some spaces that need grout put in before the guy can come in and actually finish. So my guys are gonna come in later today. They'll finish putting all this grout in. And you also gotta make sure you take out your toilet because all of this is gonna be sprayed as well along the walls. What I love about it, it's another great low-cost solution to get a nice finished bathroom. And you don't also have to worry about ripping up all that tile, all that demo, all the dust, all the debris. It's just too much. So going with something like this is a lot simpler, and it also gives you a really nice look. Next thing I wanna go over is the floors themselves. Now, in the previous episode, you guys saw we actually had a lot of the tiles put in, or at least we started to put some of the tiles in, but now we've gone ahead and we've finished most of it. The last thing we need to do is finish doing all of our grout, and of course getting it clean, because right now it's pretty dirty, but you guys will see once it's all done and it's cleaned up nice and smooth, man, it's gonna look great. So what we did in the laundry room is we took the water heater out. If you guys remember, this water heater right here, got it ripped out. So now that the water heater is out, we actually were able to get our tile down. So part of the problem that we had is the water heater sat right above this area, so we couldn't put a tile in place. So what we had to do, there's actually a valve. Let me show it to you guys. So right here, see that little slot? That is actually what's gonna open up the water line from this. So you actually attach a hose right here to the end of it. You run that outside, and then right where that little slot guy is, you take a flathead screwdriver, you twist that. Now the water is gonna flow out from the water heater. So you get everything drained. Once you get it all drained, you unhook your hot, you unhook your cold, make sure your electrical is turned off at your panel, you disconnect it, and then you can undo your electrical. Now, make sure you guys follow all building codes, so make sure we put that disclaimer out there. This is not something that you should be doing yourself. You should always have a professional, you should always have licensed contractor doing this work. These are just the steps that took place in order for the water heater to be removed. So that's the reason why I'm bringing that up. So once that water heater came out, we got our new cement board in place. Remember, this is our backing for our tile. So the tile goes down once this is in place, and we also have to put some mud, which is like the texture we brought up in the last video to show you what goes down and holds the tile in place. So we still have to do grout just like how we did in the bathroom. But another thing I also want to bring up is now we have access to all this pipes that we didn't have access to before. So we're gonna get all this cleaned up, trying to decide if we should go tankless, if we should go back to the tank. I absolutely hate tanks because now that I've done tankless in so many properties, it just saves so much time, it saves so much space, because tanks they just take up too much room, especially when you have a small house. A lot of the houses I'm working on are like 1,000 square feet or less. And when you have a tank of this size, it just eats into your square footage. It's just kind of crappy. But when you have a tankless and it's small, you could put it on the wall really nice and neat and tuck it away. Amazing. Always a really good solution. So something else we're gonna be doing, you guys look, we don't have the door in place because we had to rip out some of this stuff. Some of it was a little bit rotted, some of it was no good. So once we got it out, we're actually gonna put a brand new door in right here. Now what I would love to do is actually do a pocket door, because whenever I have a door in the center of a space, I really hate how you open it, because now does the door swing this way? It's in the way of the vanity. Does it swing that way? It's a bit cumbersome. So what I'm gonna do instead, actually not what I'm gonna do instead, I guess I have no other option, because there's tile on this side and then there's the toilet and the vanity on this side. So we're gonna have to do a swing door. But if there's ever an option to, or there's never a situation in which I can, I'll always opt for the pocket door. Really simple, really nice. But in this situation, swing door, call it a day. You're now inside the guest bedroom. So with the guest bedroom, if you guys remember, I took out the closet doors over here. There were these mirrored doors. Well, I'm putting them back in because I have nothing to put in this space and we're trying to save some money. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go right back outside where there's a big ass pile of garbage. We're gonna take it from there. We're gonna put them right back in this place. Now, something that I would typically do is put some new closet doors in, but aside from saving money too, I'm having a difficult time with the dimensions, right? These are like some odd customized dimension. Now I could take down all the casing, move the wall over, get something standardized, I'm not trying to do that, and neither should you, because this is a low-cost solution and we're trying to preserve all the money that we can so we can put all of it and put it back in our pocket. So something we're gonna be doing, and thankfully we haven't thrown them out yet, they're just in a big pile outside. We're gonna grab the closet doors, we're gonna put them back in. Because they're mirrored, they look a little old. Maybe I'll dress them up somehow. How exactly, I honestly don't know. But stay tuned, and maybe you guys can find out and see if it works for you as well. So that's one thing we're gonna be doing over there. Last thing we're gonna do all around the edge, I didn't really bring it up, but you can't see it here. I was looking for, oh, right over here, you guys can see it. See all these gaps over in the corners? All these gaps that run along the edge here. So we're gonna go back at the very end, we're gonna be putting caulking along all of them, because something that I always make sure I do, because it makes my mom really mad, is when I have gaps in the floors, because she's like, I don't want any bugs coming into my room, so I'm gonna make sure I get all that stuff caulked for no other reason than to make sure my mom is happy. But I also think it's great because in case you have somebody that's staying inside the house, bugs, ants, insects of any kind, nobody wants those. So making sure all that stuff is sealed is actually gonna be pretty good. So in here, just get the closet doors in, get everything caulked around the edges, and then we can start bringing in some furniture because this room is pretty much wrapped up. Okay, remember I told you guys in all those previous episodes like what does it look like when you have a bunch of trash? Well, here you go. this is exactly what ends up happening. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna throw this stuff away, but like I always say, it's a never-ending process. You're always gonna have more trash, more and more things you gotta throw away. So this is gonna be the first big pile, then next week we're gonna have another pile, then so on and so forth. Thankfully, one of the things that we did put into the trash, here are those closet doors that we were just talking about inside. So we're gonna be able to pick them up from out here, get a new track system installed, and then put them right back in place. So thankfully, it's gonna be a really nice savings. Otherwise, it was gonna cost us more money. All right, kids, that's a wrap. So make sure you guys tune in next week. We're gonna get all this paper and plastic off all the windows. You'll finally be able to see them. We'll get the fireplace tile in. Ooh, it's gonna be fly, super fly. So once we get all that done, we're gonna get a nice big cleanup, get all this paper ripped up. We're gonna get some more cleaning done. We're gonna have our sink fully installed right now. It's just kind of like setting in place. We're actually gonna install it. We're also gonna get some more shelves up in the kitchen as well. Trying to think, what else? A nice little update. Oh, and we'll also have the bathroom done so you guys can see what it looks like when it's all sprayed. Not done, but at least sprayed. Then we'll come back and we'll get all of our trim work in, probably in like a finale. So make sure you guys tune in. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, like this video for more content just like this. Because remember, this is your channel for all things design and real estate. So until next time, catch you guys on the next one. Let's go.